Hey, it's Thursday of week 3. How is it already almost the end of week 3? Things have grown since the humble beginnings of this map, and we have had to adjust what we're doing several times because, let's face it, this is new for all of us. So I'm continuing to do my best to help us all get on the same page. One day, maybe, we'll be back in the classroom together, and this will be so much easier. But for now, I give you grace while we all learn together. Now, I have provided answers in these videos here to these 3 particularly problematic missions. The definitive how to establish your Adobe ID for every single student. It doesn't matter if you were successful for the definitive way I want you to do it. And the answer is right there. Here, as I suggest in these videos, we're looking for a sentence about each of the elements and each of the principles, along with a description of, in your own words, of what the elements and principles of art and design are all about. Now, here in this column, we have something a little different. We added in color harmonies, and we get the principles of design and the elements of art, and we're looking for visual explanations of your understanding, representations. You're creating something that shows what you know, shows what you understand. And whatever you submit at this point in a normal classroom, that's done. I turned that in. This is not how our classroom works. We will return to this again and again because over the course of this quarter and this school year, your skills will continue to grow, and your demonstration of your understanding of the elements and principles will get ever more sophisticated. And I want to use student work to explain this to you and other students. I started the ball rolling in line by showing you a silver point that I did years ago. And it's a portion of a much larger silver point project. And it's comprised of nothing but small lines, little short lines drawn with an 1864 quarter. I don't want that picture there. I want your picture here. And that's what's explained in the video. So I am encouraging students who are spending 2 minutes submitting something that really doesn't demonstrate anything other than, I just want to be done with this. Take some pride. Instead of drawing a square and saying that's a shape, how can you compose something? How can you make an image comprised of shapes that has a visual interest, has certain compositional elements, begins to show that you care about what you're submitting. Now, this brings me to the punchline here, and I will end this video very quickly after this, is proportion. We have one particularly good student who's really trying her best and really trying to submit things, and proportion for her is trying to get everything, when she draws a face, everything perfectly proportioned to one another. But when you finish a drawing of a face and everything's perfectly proportioned, what you have is a drawing of a face, not necessarily a representation of proportion, which usually deals with a sense of scale because there's something recognizable in there. My daughter is in grad school in Ohio, getting her graduate degree in geology. And when she does field work, typically when she takes pictures, she puts something in the picture in order to establish scale. Say a quarter on a geological formation that she's taken a picture of, and it's a close-up, and it gives you an idea of how big that image is. So I amongst reading all your work and everything I have to do on this end, I don't have a lot of time to answer this, so I went to Unsplash, public domain site, and found an image. And the image, when I found this, I went, whoa, that's a big room. And my second reaction was, that is a really big door. Why is that door so big? Why is it so tall? And how do you know it's a really big room? Simply because someone placed a quarter in the photograph. And that quarter here is represented by this woman. This woman gives a sense of scale, of proportion to what we're looking at. Now, this is not the only way you can represent proportion. It is one of a multitude of ways, including drawing a face that's not perfectly to scale to perhaps suggest this person listens really well or can see particularly well. There's exaggeration is a way to establish proportion as well. We're trying to communicate concepts, well, I won't get carried away because here's where the video gets long. In concluding, I want to say this photo seemed a little drab, lacking contrast. Yeah, we got light and dark here. And I didn't like all these little elements, but I didn't have time to take those out. I did have time to say, hey, pop this up a little bit. Let's see what we're looking at and get an idea for what's really here, including this really, really big door.